So I'm chatting to Valentina and Bags about what they've been doing during quarantine time. So what have you guys been up to keep yourself sane during the COVID quarantine days?
Well, I actually haven't been sewing that much during the quarantine because I decided to make face masks in the beginning, and I made 200 of them in like 2 weeks, and it just completely burnt me out sewing, unfortunately. But before the quarantine, because I had 2 surgeries last year, I was like, I need to do something with my life. So I started to learn how to sew, and I got completely into it, and I made these outfits.
Lovely.
That I'm wearing right now.
Wow, I love that fabric as well. It's so cool.
I love it too. And then I started making some costumes for our entertainment company. So we had a big gig last December that was all like neon and blacklight themed. So I made these amazing bodysuits that was like pieced together different like fabrics to make like different designs on the bodysuits. And it took me so long to figure out how to make it, but somehow I figured it out. And I think I made 13 of them or something crazy for all the performers.
They were amazing. They were really good.
I think that's my biggest achievement in my sewing life so far. But I'm just starting to finally feel like I'm ready to start to sew again after I burnt myself out from the mask making extravaganza, and I have a couple projects like waiting for me, so that'll be good.
And how about you, Bags? What kind of things have you been doing hobbies wise or keep yourself
I've been starting working on a solo kids show in this little space. We've got quite a small little space, but I've been working on that, and that's like my main goal is to get that up and running. So it's like a 20 to 30 minute kids show, and then a workshop, and just put out a promo for that. And yeah, that's taken lots of practice. Oh, because one of the interesting sides of it was the technology side. I wanted to do a kids show, but I didn't want it to just be like, oh, it's a kids show that I'm filming, and I was just filming like a normal show. I wanted to like try and add something to the kids show in that editing process. So it's live, but it goes through a program called OBS. You can add different like titles on it and stuff all live. You can just make it all happen as you're doing the show. So I wanted to make it like a sort of like a little interactive kids show that's more than just like, I'm doing this show in the pandemic. This is what I've ended up doing because I couldn't think of anything else to do. I wanted to do something that was actually like a new, interesting thing for me to do.
Like a TV show.
Yeah, like an interactive like kids TV show aspect to it. It's still like a circus show, but you know, different effects happen, and yeah, it's fun and a different route for me. So yeah, we've been working on that.
And I started teaching classes.
Oh, nice.
Right here in space.
What kind of things are you teaching with the classes?
So I'm teaching belly dancing on Monday nights, and that's at 6 o'clock in the evening Pacific Standard Time. And it's pretty much the same time every night. And then on Tuesdays, I'm teaching burlesque. Wednesdays is beginner hoop, and that's actually at 7 o'clock. And then Thursdays is intermediate fire fans, not with fire, just the technique of it. So
nice. And are these all things you can do in quite a small space, so people can do it from the comfort of their living rooms? Yeah,
I mean, I'm teaching it from our living room, so
you probably need like 6 foot by 4 foot or something.
Yeah,
like you need a chunk of space.
You need a little bit of space.
A living room.
I've been teaching like private lessons and some other classes here and there, and I've noticed a lot of people have like transformed their living rooms, kind of like we have, moved the furniture around a little bit to try to make it a little bit more of a workable space for that kind of thing. So
also when we hoop, when we do stuff like this, we take everything outside. So we've got like a shoe rack
That's
and various bits of all sits outside our front door.
Yeah. We do have quite a system that we've worked out where we have to move stuff in order to make the space livable. But yeah.
And have you discovered any other things? Like, are there any TV shows or movies that have been like your like highlights of chill time during quarantine?
I mean, we've been binging like crazy.
And then we tried to watch a whole bunch of Black Lives Matter stuff. Yeah. Like there was a 1619 podcast, which was really good. There was the movie 13th on Netflix. And what was it? I'm Not Your Negro was another good documentary. And yeah, trying to watch lots of because my education on that is woefully lacking. Certainly, I'm very much aware of that. Even just like the podcast on 1619 talking about Abraham Lincoln and how my knowledge of him very simplistic is that he did the emancipation of did the ending of slavery, but actually those weren't his motives at all. and finding out about, he was just trying to save the union. So finding out all about this, you know, I have a very, very superficial understanding of this.
And even I do, like, and I was raised here, like the way that history has been taught to us has been so one-sided.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. Like, even I was having aha moments learning about how he was actually racist. Abraham Lincoln was actually racist, and he's one of the people that we idolize.
Yeah.
Because the only things that are remembered or taught to us are the things that we want to like associate with him. So it's very, very narrow view of what the reality of the way it actually was, which is just crazy and eye-opening.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for your recommendations, and hopefully people can check out some of your classes and things online, and see what you're up to and keep in touch with you and what you guys are doing as we're allowed out more as well. So we also have Kenna here talking about how she's been staying sane and active during lockdown times and COVID times with everything changing. So what kind of things have you been doing over the last month or two?
So for me, Kay, it's a bit weird because obviously, like, normally I am never at home, and I've basically spent the last 7 years running around and being in a different city every day sometimes. So actually it's been surprisingly calming for me to actually be forced to stay at home and to not have an excuse to sort of go and do 1,000 things. So I've kind of been concentrating a lot on the things that I've wanted to do for a really long time. Obviously I had a list of things that was like 20 things long that I'd planned to do. I always say I'm not going to do that, but I definitely are like, oh yeah, you know, I could like get my, you know, I could be able to do the splits because I'll stretch every day and I'll make everything better, I'll make my languages learn better and all this. But actually, realistically, I've tried to just really, you know, just come back on that. Physically, I do 45 minutes to an hour of drills every day while I'm watching different Disney Plus, which I love, Disney Plus and Netflix shows. So I think I went from like singles to like being able to vaguely get it into the four while I was watching. What did I watch first? I watched Gummy Bears. I think I went through quite a lot of seasons of Gummy Bears, and I did some seasons of X-Men, the cartoon. I used to love that. Oh, Gargoyles. Gargoyles was a big one. Did all 5 series of Gargoyles, still Disney Plus, and then I moved on to all the Marvel series. So I did like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and like Agent Carter and all that. And so I've just gradually been getting better. And I'm currently watching The Last Airbender. This is all while I'm training. And I do try and have the rule that like I'm only allowed to watch the shows when I'm training, but I definitely binge when I get to the end, and it's a bit, I just have to watch the end. So but the fitness wise, it's been really great to have this kind of like regular routine of doing the drills, because there's never been a time where I've actually had the opportunity to have so much of a routine with that. So that's been super good. Other than that, I've been teaching. I've been teaching tons, and for me, I think a lot of people are like, oh, you know, online teaching as an alternative to in-person teaching. But what I'm actually finding is it's been an amazing opportunity for me to have regular classes again. And I absolutely love teaching online. Like, I really love it. I love that I don't have to leave my house. I love that I don't have to get on a plane. You know, I've had so much guilt about the amount I fly for so long from the environmental side of things. So it's actually like amazing, the reduced guilt that no one's getting on a plane to come to these classes. And I'm not saying I'm not going to get on the planes again afterwards, but it's really nice to have this opportunity. And things like Cyber Swoop, the event, like, people that have never been able to come to Swoop and probably would never be able to come to the Bristol event, and now able to come and just get a little taster of what it's like, and to learn from these amazing teachers. So that's been really good. So I'm just absolutely loving teaching online, and it's something that I've really got into, and I've got into the idea of staying in one place, and I'm enjoying the idea of like carrying that on afterwards, and, you know, having regular students from all over the world that can come and hoop with me, and seeing them every day pretty much. I teach. I only really have Tuesdays off, and it's been so nice to just see everyone's faces every day, and like, you know, I really do feel like I get that sort of real interaction that obviously we're not getting in person?
Since I've been in lockdown, I've just got a little sample right here. I've done a little bit of sewing for the first time since 1990, when I like batch made hair scrunchies. So I made myself this like super cool scarf.
Whoa,
It's
with tassels.
I think I've got it on like slightly boring side, although it's like got like cool textured fabric, and then the other side is, let's go this way, this like
Wow.
all the best colors, and then it's got this fringing. So I don't actually know how to sew, but I did this without a pattern or another one to copy. So I'm really proud of myself.
That's awesome.
And it goes with everything. Lots of fringing. And so I sewed that. And I'm just going to go, oh God, you can see that I'm wearing tracksuit pants. Oh my God, so much black. I've never worn so much black. Okay, this is, I made these like,
wow.
My friend calls them pot plant pajamas. So it's probably the fabrics that I chose. But these little bags that go around pot plants. I'll just pull up my tracksuit. Whoops, should have thought that through.
No, that's fabulous. I love it. I love the amount of pom-poms and tassels and things as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, haberdashery. It's a good word, isn't it? Haberdashery. I've been getting into haberdashery in COVID times. I've not been baking anything. Just sewing, gardening, lots of gardening actually. Can't see because it's nighttime, but out here down the back there's huge veggie patch. Been potting a lot of plants slowly. Wait, I'm going to show you this plant too because this is really cool. This is insight into my world. So this is called a watermelon plant. How cool is it? It looks exactly like a watermelon.
I've never seen one of those before.
So, no, me neither. So cool. It's like something you'd only find in Japan or something.
What kind of things have you been doing to keep yourself sane during lockdown?
So I got back into hooping a lot more because I wasn't working those 60 hours a week, and that was amazing. Like I finally started hooping again. I was hooping more and I loved it, and then I had to go back to work and it was kind of depressing. Like, oh, I was just getting back into it. I was getting that fire going again. So that was really amazing for me to, be able to get back into it for a little bit. And I know it was a struggle for a lot of people. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go to the gyms. We couldn't get outside as much. And a lot of people were, gained some weight and, we're kind of unhealthy and stuff. So I think just try to just do something, whatever you can do. I know it's hard sometimes when you're in small spaces, but I feel like if you really want to do something, you can find a way to do it. And sometimes you don't always want to, but you just have to do it anyway. It's always better to be disciplined than motivated because motivation doesn't last. So if you can just teach yourself how to be disciplined and do things even when you don't want to, you'll get further.
And I know that you used to post a lot of videos kind of hooping. I think it's from your kitchen. Is there anything that kind of hoop wise you'd say has been good for kind of the fitness side of things while you're getting back into hooping?
Say that again.
Is there anything in particular with kind of fitness stuff within hooping that's been useful for staying fit and active whilst being stuck in the house?
Hooping can be as much of a workout as you want it to be. You can, and it's for all skill levels. You don't have to be, a super fit person to be able to hoop. You can take it easy and just kind of, slowly hoop around your waist or whatever. Or if you want to get like super into it and do lots of jumping and, lots of, fast, quick movements, it's just like go at your own pace. But you can make it as much of a workout as you want to, depending on the kind of stuff you want to do.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. Chatting to Kat Borrowdale from Think Circus up in Edinburgh. What kind of things have you been doing during these weird quarantine COVID times to keep yourself sane?
Well, I definitely think it's a challenge to make sure we're looking after ourselves in these uncertain times. So I've been following a really great little series of things that I can do every day. And this is one of my friends, Kate came up with it, and I just think it's great. So her forward recipe for looking after yourselves during lockdown was home, work, move, and play. And so just doing one thing from each of those categories each day. And if you're feeling quite low on energy, making that really small. So doing something for your home might be that you wash up a dish or something, you know, just anything that improves your surroundings. Doing something that feels like it's for your own development, or for me, like I'm still running Think Circus, so you know, answer an email, that's enough. And then so moving, doing something physical, yeah, just getting in your body, and that really helps you to connect to the moment. And again, that could be that you just dance to a song for 2 minutes, and that's enough. And then yeah, play, like making sure to schedule time with people, and think about being playful, and yeah, making sure to look after yourself, because you're essentially a small child that will have a tantrum if you don't pay attention to it, to having fun and making room for yourself. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Bit of learning piano, which has been really cool. Learning with a Scottish singer-songwriter called Siobhan Wilson, who would never have time to teach me piano if it wasn't for a global pandemic. So I'm feeling really lucky about that. Yeah, I've been trying to just keep things ticking along with my hoop training, and actually by teaching online, that's been a really good incentive. So I've been doing like a trick a day for my students, and they've been sharing tricks with me. So yeah, I actually feel really inspired, because I never normally have time to just do training for the sake of training. So yeah.
And are you doing like regular weekly Zoom classes? Were you teaching a weekly class before the pandemic and lockdown?
Yeah, so I had two weekly classes in Edinburgh, and one class in Glasgow, before everything shut down, and my family circus classes as well. So I've taken the adult classes online. I feel like the kids circus classes, we haven't quite got a way to do it that's going to be good for the kids taking part, because I know it can be quite frustrating when you're little and you're having to share a class with lots of kids who you're not even there with. So yeah, we'll figure out a way to do it. I've been teaching 4-week courses, and we called it isolation motivation. And we basically we did a sort of 4-week one back in March, and gave, like, again, we had like a little chat group, and we just asked people to say what their goal was. So you could either say, I just want to be moving, I want to connect with other people, or I want to get a trick. So I could set people a goal, and then I did sort of one-to-one check-ins as well. And that worked pretty well. Basically now we're at a stage where lockdown's easing. I think it's difficult for people to commit to spending a lot of time online. So people are really starting to like ration out the time. I'm basically doing that. I've decided that I'm not allowed to do more than 3 hours of Zoom a day, because it just makes me, yeah, I get like a twitchy eye. And I get actually just really sad. So I think I'm trying to figure out ways that I can put some of it online, have a live class every week, but also have lots of content that people can just access when they want it. And then it doesn't feel like a lot of pressure that they have to get involved with everything all the time. Because yeah, we have enough things to worry about during a weird time. You know, people are worried about if they're going to have a job, or what the hell they're going to do with their children today, and they don't need to worry about also, you know, making sure they do all the hoop training. But if they want to, I want there to be a way that people can be like, I've got loads of time to hoop, I'm going to do it, but also that they can say, I don't, but I'm going to go to a class once a week, and that's enough, and that's great. Yeah.
And also, I suppose there's also the issue of like which people have hula hoops at home, because obviously if you're doing a lot of kids circus group things, a lot of the time it's like lots of different circus props that you have to bring to them. So being like, okay, you're stuck at home, you can balance this plate, and you can do this, like there's certain things that you can do with household objects or with things they might have there, but there's a lot of limitations.
Yeah, that's my plan for the kids summer school. It's going to be, if we get a bit of funding for it, I want to give everyone their own equipment, but I'm not going to give it to anyone until they complete the home challenges. So it's going to be like, find a toothbrush and learn how to spin it on your finger, you know, and they have to complete a week of challenges, and if they do it, then they get their free hula hoop or Diablo. We're joking balls. But yeah, actually, that's what we've done in most of our social projects is we've given everyone their own kit. Anyway, so that kind of helps with the COVID side of hygiene. I am not sure how physically distanced hula hoop workshops are gonna, like, if they can function in a public space. I'm not sure that they can, because I think just from seeing kids at the moment, they're like running around, grabbing each other, and you watch the parents standing doing, like, 2 meters distance. You're like, but your children are rolling on top of each other. So I don't know. Might not be able to do very much for a bit, but I'm hoping to meet up with the families soon at least, and maybe we can just do like meeting in the park in small groups. I hope so.
I've made a few items for me to wear to my office. I have a good amount of progress on like a fire spinning performance jacket. I also have made about 70 face masks at this point for people for the pandemic and stuff. Have some face masks right next to me. We can.
Oh yeah, let's
look how beautiful. So here's one of them right here.
Oh wow!
I'll model it for you. Take my mask off. Oh god. Okay, so let me put this little knot in there. Okay, so here's my face mask. You can just see how lovely it is.
So
I have a little nose wire in there, and I put like a filter inside, and you can I'm just gonna show off my beautiful sewing.
Oh wow!
So you can see my nice little like my serged ends over here, and then this part here that lines up with this thing opens for you to put the filter inside, and I'm like very proud of the like even stitching around the edge and stuff. Nice. So it's been a work in progress.
That's really high end. I like what you did.
I actually just before this interview put up my first sewing tutorial on how to make face masks, so you can find it. You can find it on my Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Here's a video on how I've been making face masks with filter pockets. For this, I've been using both a regular machine and a serger. Here are the materials that you're going to need. I've got some wire stem and some pliers for the nose piece. I have pins, and I have scissors for working with the fabric. I have an overcast foot and a regular foot. I have elastic and this fat plastic needle. I have my little pizza cutter thing, a pattern, and a paperweight, and I have 2 different types of fabric, one for the outside and one for the lining. I'm using a pattern from Jackie Stuffin' Things. Once you've cut out the top and bottom patterns for the outside and the lining fabric, you're able to start pinning them together. Once your top and bottom pieces are pinned together, you can start sewing. If you've got an overcast foot, put it on your machine and sew around the area you just pinned. Next, you're going to sew the dart at the nose area closed. Now your outside and lining fabric should look like this. To make space for the filter pocket, we use the overlock machine to sew a line lined up with where the top and bottom patterns meet. I think you can tell in this video what I'm talking about. This is what you should have now. You're going to take the lining and the outside fabric and sew them right side to right side. I've been pinning my pieces together first so I don't hate myself while I'm sewing. You should still be using the overcast foot so you can sew around the edge evenly. Once it's sewn together, you can turn your mask inside out through the filter pocket area. It should start to actually look kind of mask-like now. We're now going to sew around the top and bottom edges of the mask one more time with the overcast foot. I definitely recommend pinning at this stage because if you mess up, it's going to look a little bit ugly on the outside. It's especially important to make sure that you're sewing evenly around the top where the nose is so that you have space to put the wire inside. For the nose piece, I've been cutting 18 gauge wire to 3.5 inches, but something less heavy duty would work too. Use the pliers to twist each end of the wire and then flatten them as much as possible. The flatter the wire, the easier it'll be to put into the nose piece. There are 2 places in the mask where you can slide in the wire. The first one is at the filter pocket, and the other one is on the opposite side of the mask. Try sliding into each place to see which one will be easier. You'll want the center of the wire to line up with the center of the face mask. Use the dart in the middle for reference. Once the wire's in place, bending it to fit the contour of your face will keep it from sliding around. We now get to use the overlock machine to finish off each edge of the mask. At this point, we tuck in the loose threads and fold over each side of the mask. On the side with the filter pocket, make sure that each of the serged ends lines up exactly next to each other. Switch to your regular foot to sew those pieces in place. The very last thing we have to do is put in the elastic. I like to measure mine to 8 inches, but you might want to do it more or less depending on your face size. Use your giant plastic needle thingy to thread the elastic through each end of the mask. Tie the elastic a few times, trim the ends, and pull the knot into the folded part so that you don't see it. Ta-da! You now have a very beautiful face mask with some nice finished edges and a filter pocket. The way I did it in this video, this mask only has 2 layers, but you can feel free to add additional layers for more protection. You can now admire how beautiful you look with your lovely new face mask. Make sure when you first put it on that you adjust the nose area so that it's flush against your face. Hopefully this video can help you be safe and cute.